Okay, here we are. You are the medicine. This is our free workshop for today. We just did this last Thursday, and folks really got a lot of value from it and decided to do it again. So I hope folks tune into this live or will listen to the recording. And I was sharing earlier today in my Qigong class that there are, of course, thankfully, many avenues we can choose when it comes to healing autoimmune or some other chronic illness. But from my personal experience for myself on the healing journey and being a facilitator for healing, whether it was Chinese medicine, holistic health for the last powerful ways to heal yourself is what I want to talk about today. So, like I said, there's many avenues. We can heal, obviously, going to the doctor, getting surgery, pharmaceuticals. We can go see an herbalist. We can see a naturopath. We can see a functional medicine person, nutritionist, acupuncturist, et cetera, et cetera. So it can go on. And thankfully, like I said, there are so many avenues because sometimes it might be more available or more accessible to others than not so much to others. So myself, on when I was going through my healing journey, I felt like I went through all of those. And those of you that are new here to the group or tuning in live that have never met me, my name is Thomas Garbarino. And that's what I've done over the last 20 years. I also had to walk through my own healing journey of a chronic autoimmune, undiagnosed autoimmune condition that still to this day perplexes many doctors. Put a 1 in the chat if you had some kind of condition or are still currently working with a condition and you went to the doctors and they couldn't figure it out. They couldn't, like for me, I was told because they did all the tests and they checked all my, MRIs, EKGs, CAT scans, you name it, all the tests, and everything came back great. Like it was like, you're in perfect health, they told me. And meanwhile, I was dying on the inside. And then I had one doctor that told me it was all in my head and told me I was just like suffering from uh, crazy anxiety and wanted to put me on antidepressants. Yeah, so I thank you. Appreciate that, Tannis. So you also experience that too. It's very common. I mean, I speak to people every day, conversations, whether it's through Messenger, emails, phone calls, Zoom calls, and a lot of folks have experienced this. And this is kind of if I could say, this is the crux of our time, is we have a backlog of between and the medicine that the most popular medicine, modern medicine, Western medicine, is not connected. There is a backlog. So what they're diagnosing you or what they're evaluating you is, from my opinion, take it or leave it, right? Is not able to accurately just diagnose, but also be able to treat it. So there's that, right? Then you can go see a functional. Maybe it's like change your diet, maybe take some herbal therapy, maybe take supplements, I have many, many clients that have taken thousands of dollars worth a month supplements. And that also can be problematic, right? Because in some ways, you know, it can be a longer route. It doesn't necessarily in the beginning give you immediate results. It's expensive. And sometimes you're left with an uncertainty. Is this helping or is it not? And some cases it does help, clearly, like when folks take vitamin D and they're suffering with an autoimmune condition, increased amounts of vitamin D can really help. However, feel with me right now, if you're willing to, that all those things are not connected to you. Whether it is an herb therapy or a functional medicine strategy with supplements and food therapy, pharmaceuticals, they're not connected to what's happening to you, right? I mean, that's a very like obvious and sometimes often missed that we use information like you all are now from me, or you read some books, or you check out some podcasts, listen to videos, and you ascertain this information that you get about people saying, like the walls protocol, the medical medium protocol, these are good for this condition. But it's not connected directly to you, is it? It's maybe helped a bunch of people over there. At least theoretically, it sounds good. You take these foods and it'll reduce your inflammation. But from my experience, maybe it's just me. Maybe this is from my own relationship and the clients I connect with. I seem to take on clients that their backs are against the wall. Nothing is working. Even some of the protocols that I just suggested still are not working. So what do you do in that scenario? So what I want to teach you today is what I have done personally for myself to heal through my journey and have also helped so many other people walk through their healing journey without having to do any of those things I mentioned. You can still do them. I'm not saying you don't have to. You clearly can. They can help, right? They can help. And so, of course, eating a anti-inflammatory diet that can help, right? But the place I want to take you today will help immediately because it is connected to you and not to some general idea about this treats this condition, this will help this condition, right? Out there somewhere. This will go directly to you. I am a big proponent of medicine needs to be catered for you. If you're the person that is sick, it needs to be catered to. That's why I chose Chinese medicine initially, because I love how Chinese medicine does its diagnosis. It's not like, oh, right, diabetes, all these same. So if you're diabetic, you fit in this category and we just give this medicine to you. In Chinese medicine, there's probably 20 different ways you could come into being a diabetic, maybe more. And it's those different pathways that our job as a practitioner is to track and find what those are and then see, because you could get diabetes from a congested liver while somebody else, their liver's fine, but it's actually because their colon is not able to release. Or it might be because your stomach doesn't have that digestive fire to break down. So the food comes through your digestive system very heavy and thick. So one size does not fit all in medicine. And I think one of the things that's come out of the last 3 years, one of the blessings is hopefully more and more coming into the populace is that we can't do medicine that way. We can't do one size fits all medicine. What works for you doesn't necessarily work for them, right? Or for that person over there, right? We have to understand each and every one's unique system. And boy, that makes it very hard for, a government, a health organization to try to put that all in one container. Because the place I want to take you to goes beyond all that, goes beyond thought. It goes beyond our limitations that we think we know. Because I want to bring it back to one of the most important parts about this whole thing is that your body here right now is vastly more intelligent than any of those strategies I just mentioned. It knows you better than any of those. It knows your blood to sugar ratio better. It knows how your immune system works. It knows what hormones are firing and wiring and which ones aren't. It knows what gets you inflamed and what doesn't. It knows all that, guys. But the problem is most of us don't trust it. We outsource it out, right? To some authority that we think knows more. Now, of course, what I'm saying today isn't for everyone, okay? It's not for the masses here. Maybe it will someday. But if you're here tuning live or you're watching this recording, it's because you know there's another way. There's another way that not only will heal you, but will also take you into a greater experience of who and what you are. Remember, Socrates said so many years ago, know thyself, right? In so many words, I think that is why we're all here, to know who we really are deep in there. And so, again, I want to make it very clear. I'm not knocking or putting down all these other medicines and strategies. They can work. But what happens when they don't work? Like in my case, then where do you go? For me, there was a lot of suffering, many years of hating myself, hating my body, feeling suicidal, wanting it all to be different, right? And then, of course, that just didn't show up naturally when I was sick. I had some of those ideas, those thoughts, those feelings, even before I was sick. And so the journey for me was really coming in and begin the process of listening. There's a concept from ancient China that's called Ting, Ting. And they use this word because we can get stuck in the limitations of our conditional mind, right? When we're perceiving life and our circumstances around us, we all do that. We get stuck in our judgments and our ideas about what is and what isn't. And that gets convoluted in our senses, right? Literally, we stop hearing, we stop seeing, we stop smelling, or it just deafens, right? It just doesn't have that vivid color experience of life like a 3-year-old does. And some of that obviously is because the body's breaking down, but a lot of it is because our perceptions are being clouded by this judgment. Now, the word ting roughly translates to listen, because when we listen, the qualities of when somebody listens is they have to what? They have to shut up, right? First off, can't talk and listen at the same time. Some people try to, right? I'm listening. But it's not really a good listening, right? So the qualities of a good listener is they have to first be attentive. They have to attend to what's here. They have to also be able to step back, to not, right, to not want to have that impulse to do. They have to undo. They have to be receptive, right? And I always say this, like, I say this to my son who plays soccer. He's starting his soccer journey in high school sports, and he's doing great. And I always tell him, to be a good receiver requires a certain softness. And you always hear this, like, someone that's a good receiver has soft hands, right? And just making a connection here. So soft hands, our hands from Chinese medical theory are deeply connected, not just to the brain, but to the heart. So when someone has soft hands, they also have a soft heart, soft awareness. So when we ting, it's helping us get back to that softening experience of ourself. Not always doing, figuring out, trying to sort out our day, right? Or all the responsibilities, but to take a step back and listen deep. I think this is something that is during this time in history, at least in the Western world, we are very deficient in. It makes sense why we have a lot of the issues we do. But I think we can change that, starting one person at a time through this process of deep listening inside. Now, the hard part is getting out of our head. My friend says it's like getting out of the bad neighborhood, because the head is just like this computer. It's so good at sorting things out. It's so good at figuring things out and making plans, making spreadsheets, to-do lists, right? Oh boy, it's so good at it. And we have to come to terms that that's good. Like, that's good, and it has a time and a place. And so when it comes to our healing, when we have a symptom, let's say we have palpitations in our heart, or we have a digestive bloating, or I don't know, a pain somewhere that we normally don't experience, trying to figure out with our head can work, but can it actually move and heal the symptom? And that's what I want to show you today. That is one of the things I want you to walk away. We'll have an experience of this in just a little bit, where I'll guide you where we can do this together. I just want to first share just a story that happened last week in my group that we meet once a week. And one of the participants was has had a rough go, for a bit, like has almost walked through their long COVID experience, which has triggered a whole bunch of other symptoms and pathologies. And so when it got to their turn, they were sharing and they were in a very contracted state. You could feel it, see it. And they just went into this place of everyone was out to get them. There was such a lack in the world. They could not get handyman to help them. The person that was supposed to split their wood didn't show up. The plumber didn't come. I mean, we've all been through these kind of experiences ourselves, but it seemed to all kind of land on this particular person all at once. And they were in their victimhood state. And it was like everyone was the problem, right? We're pointing out this is the problem, that's the problem, right? And we all know, right? You point one finger out, there's always three pointing back. So when they were going through this kind of rant, I finally paused and asked them to take a breath and just notice how they were feeling. Just be aware. And they were speaking, all this, it's their fault, not fault. I'm just so angry. I was like, yeah, we can be with the anger, but just notice the words you are speaking are the thoughts you've been thinking and the ideas and emotions you are living inside you. And if we are our expression of our thoughts and our feelings, then our words have impact. And so I was just helping this person just be aware of that. Not that they can't rant, because in fact, sometimes it can be helpful. Sometimes it can help move the energy through. But in this particular case, it was like stuck in this victim consciousness and they needed help. Like they're literally in this, and we've all been there. Like we get so locked into this is the world. This is my world right now. When the universe, God is showing us something so much bigger, but we get caught. Our head does this and it locks us in this way. And so through the process I'm going to show you in a moment, and just help them walk into their experience to feel and to allow those emotions, those feelings to come up. And sure enough, like the tears started coming, the pain of separation, of not having that help, but the grief that this person was experiencing, the loneliness, right? And once we were able to accept that and listen to that, be receptive to that rather than push it away or push it out to the world and it's the world's problem, then a place of acceptance could come. And then the energy, the chi could help this individual wash this out of their heart to come back to a peaceful place. So that burden they were carrying no longer was there. And this is just a small experience that I share that just happened recently, but it's what I do with folks each and every day. And these thoughts, these thought forms, these emotional memories that we experience have so much more impact on us. I think from my experience personally, they're way more impactful on our energy and how we function, our physiological function, than anything else out there. Bad diet, um, not exercising, um, not living in a good climate, or, the feng shui is off a little bit. Like all those things play into it for sure. But these blockages that I'm referring to that we all have I'd say 90% of the impact on our system and the pathology or disharmony that our body experiences when we are chronically ill. And it becomes very important when we can touch those parts of our nature and again, listen with an open heart and an open mind. I say, like, see them as your younger self, because oftentimes that's what they are. They are your 4-year-old self, your 5-year-old self, and they are hurt, right? They are hurt. And they, we have a saying that we say, those exiled parts of ourselves, they hold the keys to your healing. And I shared last week a story, I'll share this one too, is when I was on my healing journey, I did the herbs, I did the change of diet, I spent tens of thousands of dollars going to specialists, doctors giving me these special Lyme treatments in New York City. And like I said, they helped. But the biggest thing that had the most profound effect on my whole system was doing this kind of work. And I had a very skilled practitioner way back when, 12 something years ago. And they walked me through an experience where I finally got in touch with a 5-year-old part of myself that was living in my diaphragm area. And what had happened was when I was 5 years old, uh, excuse me, I don't want any more those beeps. Uh, I was attending my brother's first communion. I was raised Roman Catholic, and my brother is 2 years older than me, was getting his first communion. And if you're not aware of that, it's kind of like the first recognition in the Catholic Church that you are, taking hand with God and Christ, and there's a whole ceremony. And I was just, imagine, I'm a 5-year-old child, and I was just so proud of my brother. I felt so proud of my brother that I literally was in the pews back with my family. My brother was up front with the priest. I ran forward to the front of the church just so I could, be next to him, right? Like I didn't, my brother was bigger than me, so I don't know if I could wrap my arm around, but I just wanted to touch him. When little kids do that, they just want to, like, you get it, right? Like you just want to vibe with them. And I was like, kind of like looking up at him, just so proud of him. And in that moment, like, everyone's like, ah, like, what's that going on? And, this little kid just runs up in the middle of the ceremony. And the priest had a choice in that moment. And unfortunately, or maybe fortunately for me, because he brought me through a whole process, but he shamed me in front of the whole congregation, because some, some priests hold it that you have this strict way of procession of doing things, and some are a little bit more looser. And I seem to throw a wrench in this guy's plan. And so he embarrassed me in front of everybody. And I had no idea, guys, that I was still carrying this intense shame and embarrassment all through my body, psychically, through my nervous system. These messages were just solidified in my nervous system. And I had, for the most part, been showing up throughout my life with this energy. And I went into that so strongly, and I felt all the shame, all the the fear and the embarrassment and the guilt, all of that came up. in my body until it finally moved its way through my nervous system and out. And when it released, it was like more than 80% of my symptoms went away right after that. To give you some idea of how powerful when we are able to move these messages out of the nervous system and open up, right, back to that purity that which we are, right? And so we all have our different versions of this. This is just one story to highlight it. But we all have our traumas. We all have our, um, you know, downs in life where we've been contracted, where we've been hurt, where there's wounds still there that we hold. And we carry those because they're in our subconscious mind, they're in our nervous system. And to be honest, they're still happening. They're still happening now. Like that 5-year-old self didn't know that it was still going on, or it didn't end, so it's still like reliving through my everyday experience in some capacity. Now, of course, it wasn't like in some cases it affects people so much that their conscious mind cannot keep focus or attention in their day. But for me, in some ways, it didn't, but it pushed me into such a way of being that shaped my reality, you know? And once I released it, not only did the symptoms go away, but here's the beautiful part is my heart opened up more. My understanding of myself opened up more. I became much more patient and honest and vulnerable with my words. uh Finances changed, like all these things are affected, all these things out there that we think we have to do changed. Because of what? Because I was able to release some of this burden I'd been carrying for 30 something years. And that's what this is about. That's what You Are the Medicine is really about, is you can tap into this within yourself. And in fact, when I work with clients, of course, I help facilitate that with them. But I also encourage them to do an internal check-in each day, sometimes multiple times a day, to, again, listen deep, shut off the world, so to speak, and make time for yourself to listen to what's happening. Because most of the time we're just going through our day and we don't make that time. Or even maybe we do make time, but we fill it with like, okay, I got to do this technique, this breathing, or this meditation, or do this exercise, right? But we don't pause enough and just listen. What's going on? And I can guarantee, like we're going to do in just a second, when we do that, there's plenty there to listen to. And then it's just a matter of giving your precious attention to it. When I say your precious attention, I mean seeing it not just with your thinker up here, but seeing it with the eye of your heart so it can feel that love. Because that's what happened. That's how I healed that 5-year-old inside me. I had to see it and feel all that, but then also shine the love and the compassion and understanding and the feeling towards that 5-year-old self. Once it felt that, it was like, let's go. It was like, all right, brush the knees off. Let's go. All right. No worries. On to the next thing, like kids do, right? We're so resilient. And you have that in you too. And my feeling and understanding is when we have these burdens, these wounds, viruses, toxins, infections, they love congregating into these areas. And it's almost like when you read someone's energy, you can feel it. There's like a dead space in there. And that's where these build up, these live, and they thrive in that environment. But when you release those things, there's like no longer, a place where like almost like Velcro they can stick to, or it's much harder. So before we jump in there, what I want you to do is grab a glass of water. I'm sure most of you, if you're here, you know about the healing power of water, how water is a carrier of messages and energy. So have your water in hand, keep it close by, and let's just take a moment. Give yourself, wherever you are, see if you can, in the next 5 minutes, just not be distracted or disturbed by anybody or anything on the screen, like my beeps, things like that. Just turn them off for a moment. Like I said, turn off the world. Don't worry, it'll be there when you come back. Not going anywhere. And give yourself just this moment to be with yourself. It's really a great gift you're giving yourself when you slow down and just give your attention. And maybe just take a couple of deep breaths just to get you even more here. Breathing in through the nose, down to your belly, and out through the mouth. And the next breath, when you breathe in, lift the shoulders up a little bit. And on the exhale, just drop them. Good. Just keep those channels open. And then I want you to just notice in your body where there feels any place that's tight, bruised, pain, uncomfortable. And I want you to just get curious with it. And I mean get curious, it means not going to it with an idea, but like I said, listen to it openly and objectively. And just become more aware of it. Maybe notice some of the qualities or tendencies of it. Does it feel heavy? Does it feel twisted? Does it feel contracted? Whatever those are, just notice it. And of course, always be aware that the thinker wants to pop in at any moment and give you an analysis or tell you you're not doing it right or you need to do this, or just ask that party to step aside for the moment. Because when we listen, it's a quiet space. And this is also the space where our wisdom and our intuition, that wisdom we talked about of the intelligence of the body, comes in. Yeah, so for me, I feel a little tightness in my belly right now. I'm just noticing that. And I'm noticing that within that tightness, there is also, um, yeah, a little bit of upset, maybe some sadness there. And I don't have to do anything about it. So now that I've identified maybe a little bit more what's happening there, now I really step back. I really allow myself just with my attention to notice how this is now starting to move and change. All things change with an objective, attentive mind. So, yep, now it's starting to move through my body in different ways. My nervous system is activated throughout my arms, my legs, up my spine. It's changing that quickly. And as I soften more, so I'm noticing I'm breathing a little bit deeper into my belly. This tightness that I was experiencing is now softening and starting to dissolve. And see what you're noticing as you're softening and creating this space for wherever this blockage is for you. And then what I want you to do is just take your fingertips and just tap your heart area a little bit like this. And you can just repeat after me. All the energy in my system is returned back to its right relationship of health, happiness, and profound experience of life. I am free. I am healed. I love you. Thank you. And what I want you to do is just extend that message into the water in front of you and have a drink. Cheers. And notice quality of the water may also have changed too. Typically gets sweeter or fresh. There's a freshness to it. And this is just another technique that we teach to help bring in healthy messages back to restore health, wellness in the system. So, how was that? Say in the chat how that was for you. Did you experience change? Did you notice things shift and move? Do you feel lighter? Did you notice the change in the water? Yeah. If you're new to Zoom, the chat icon is below. Um, Hannah said, once getting into it, other parts start to show up. Yes. Yes, this is very common. It's like sometimes when we give that attention, it's like, oh, like all of them just like, wait, we want your attention. It's a very common experience. And this is one of the reasons, one of the things I wanted to share with you today is that we offer a program rather than working directly one-on-one with me. We have a group healing experience called Be Love Heal. And yes, the water tastes cleaner, sweet. I love that. And you can do this for your pets, you can do this for your plants, you can do this for your kids, you can do it for yourself, you know. It's great when you have that intentional quality with the water. It's amazing. So, as I was saying, we have this program, Be Love Heal, where every week we are making space for each other. We have a small group of people that come together, and imagine if you were every week being coached in this way for whatever specific, because here it's general, I'm just telling you to go inside. But what I might say is, Tanis, I want you to go inside and tell me what you're feeling, and to go inside and to be facilitated through this with others. And the reason why we do it with others is because when we are in a group, it's vulnerable, right? There's that like not wanting to be seen and we want it to be private or confidential. But when we're in a group and we are seen and we are vulnerable and it's met with love, not being shamed like my 5-year-old self at the church, but imagine when it's met with love and compassion and understanding from 8 or so other people doing this together, the healing happens so fast. And here's the cool part, it doesn't just happen with you that's doing that work on yourself, because guess what? Everybody else has a flavor of that. So if you're experiencing some depression, we all experience depression in our own ways. And when you unburden it in the group, guess what? Everybody else unburdens. And so the healing every week, it just has this snowball effect where people just get this massive change over and over. And so let me just share with you all. Oh, right. And I promised you all I was going to give you a freebie. So let me give you that right now before I forget. Um, so when you come to my website and you go to resources, and I'll put this in the chat. Can I do that in the chat while I'm on share screen? Let's just stop sharing screen for a moment and I'll put it in the chat. So grab this link of thomasgarbarino.com/resources. Grab that one and just, yeah, make a different tab in your browser if you can, so you can grab it later if you're not able to open it up right now. And then this one too, thomasgarbarino.com/group coaching. That's the other one. So let me show you with the shared screen now. Okay. So when you go to the resources page, if you scroll down, there's all these options. Whoop, did it skip? No, no, no. Okay. So this one right here, free healing meditation. This is super great because this training I did many years ago, and many people have benefited just from doing this meditation. So grab it. It's like a 20-minute meditation and it helps build that somatic listening and awareness that we need to help this process. So you can download it and you'll get, I think you can download it directly and you'll also get an email sent to you as well. Um, so that's the first thing. Um, yes, thank you. I recognize. Oh, the time. Love that. 555. Sweet. I love when that happens. You know, when you're really on track with things in life, you're listening to the guidances when it's like 111, 222, 333, right? I love that. It's so cool. So the Be Love Heal program that I wanted to share with you. So it's launching next week. We only do this a couple times a year, and this will be the last time we're going to do it for this year. And this is what it is. And like I said, it is a group experience together, and it's a 10-week commitment. And what happens is every week we meet, and we come together, like I was saying, and I help facilitate a healing with the group. And sometimes it's for specifically one person, but like I said, it's connected to everyone. Sometimes it's for a couple people. And it happens quite profoundly in those experiences. And now, again, it's specifically for you and your experience. So if you have MS or you have cancer, we're helping get to the root cause of those places. And as we unburden them in your system, healing happens quickly. Your heart opens up. So I mentioned, yes, you get access to higher level within yourself. You connect with source energy each and every week through this healing process. You learn how to feel and be more secure in your body. You experience more love, and you're able to start to learn this mechanism to help release these stubborn blockages relatively fast and connect with that higher frequency. We also offer a tremendous resource section. So we encourage, it's not mandatory, but we encourage people to follow through with this dietary plan because it helps chill out the nervous system. So you can access some of these places without all that adrenalized state in play. So there's support with a protocol, a dietary protocol. There's detox techniques that we teach that help when things get rough. And then we teach, you also have access to a Qigong class every week. And then we also teach powerful Qi empowered breathing, which can also help you move in your healing experience much deeper. It's done in a community way, so you get lots of support in that way. And right now we're offering it for $997 for that 10 weeks. We do have payment plans available. But if it's something that really resonates with you and you're really excited about doing this work and taking it deeper, so it becomes like this profound healing mechanism tool, if you will, this program, you'll walk away and you will have this. So we meet right now, it's going to happen every Thursday, Tuesdays and Thursdays. So we already had our Qigong class, healing meditation class every week. And then we have the group healing calls. You also get 12-week mastery modules that, trainings that I teach, these videos. And I wanted to share with you. Yeah. So the last participant, one of them, Sophia, had a profound healing in this group. Because of the group experience, she was able to do the diet and do this work we're doing. and she eliminated her chronic fatigue of many years. She was bedbound for 3 years. She had horrific eczema all over her body. 98% of it all went away. So she had it on her face and her scalp, her arms, all gone. Her hair grew back and her anxiety, depression went away and she could sleep. So profound experience. And so that's it. And then we have other participants sharing their experience. And if you want to find out more, if you're really curious and you want to touch base with me and you would like to know more about how this can, work for you, we can just book a 15-minute discovery call in the next few days or weeks. And yeah, I'll put my link for if you'd like to make a call with me in the links as well. So you have those also. So there you go. That's the discovery call link. So you got those and you got the links above. Any questions? I thank you all. I know we've gone a little bit over time, but I just appreciate you all for being here today with me. You can write in the chat if you have any other questions, or if you'd like, you can book a call with me to find out more. I hope this made sense to you today, and I hope you got some value from doing this work with me, and maybe help open maybe your mind a little bit more to what's possible within you, because you are your best healer. Your body is a phenomenal instrument once you understand how to open it up and work with it. Thanks, everyone. I hope you have a great rest of your evening, day, wherever you're tuning in from. And I'd love to hear from you soon. Take good care. Bye now.